Good day, viewers. My name is Chiamaka Ezudike, and welcome to the Expo 10 Forum 2020. This is the maiden edition of the Expo 10 Forum. Now, today, our lead facilitator, Mr. Stanley Adam, will be taking us through all we need to know about non-oil export from the Nigerian perspective. Yes, so I advise you to get your pen, get your paper, and enjoy what he has to say. Thank you.
Welcome to the Expo 10 Forum. My name is Stanley Adam, the founder of Globexia, a commodity trading firm that exports agricultural products and solid minerals to international buyers located around the world. I'll be taking today's Expo 10 Masterclass, and I'll be teaching you exactly how to start, run, and grow a successful export business. First, we look at an overview of the export business worldwide and also in Nigeria. Taking 2018 as a case study, for instance, the total value of global exports was 19.5 trillion US dollars. But in Nigeria alone, the value of total exports was 62.4% of the export activities that happened worldwide. What it means is Nigeria's export activities are literally non-existent when compared to the export activities there. The local government itself produces over 50,000 metric tons of ginger in a year, meaning that anyone who goes to Jaba, for instance, we're able to source ginger at the lowest possible price. And beyond even Jaba, you can go to Kafanchan, you can go to Kagarako, there are different parts of Kaduna you can buy ginger from. And beyond Kaduna, you can also go to Sokoto and Co. We're talking about cashew nuts. You can buy cashew nuts. The most popular place in Nigeria is Ogbomosho in Oyo State. You can also buy cashew nuts from Iseyin in Oyo State. Or you can go as far as Kogi to buy from different parts of Kogi like Ayengba, or even to other states like even Nasarawa states, even Imo states, some parts of Anambra State and other areas to buy. So depending on what commodities you're trying to source, whether it's agricultural products or solid minerals, even speaking of solid minerals, Nasarawa State, for instance, has some of the largest deposits of solid minerals variants in the state. You can find mica blocks and in people's backyards. You can find things like tourmaline, you can find things like lead ore, zinc ore, copper ore, and a host of other solid minerals within these environs. And now we're not just talking about Nasarawa State, we're also talking about Kwara State, we're talking about even Oyo State, we're talking about even parts of the southeast, even within Lagos itself. And also, Ondo State, for instance, also has a huge bitumen deposit, which Nigerians will take advantage of for exports. Then going beyond this, after you've secured your export license and you found product sources where you can purchase commodities from, the next thing then is to go on to find international buyers. This is mostly the most difficult thing for so many people. Getting international buyers can seem like a pain, like a real pain. But really, we at Globexia have simplified the process in a way that makes getting international buyers extremely easy. And the reason is because, from experience and more, we've discovered different channels of how to reach out to buyers, how to make buyers reach out to us, and also how to take advantage of the opportunities that present themselves to us in buying. That's what I mean by opportunity. I mean buying and exporting opportunities now. And we'll get to the part of finding international buyers more later in this course. Next is to try to secure trade finance. The reality is you can have an export license, you can have the sources to buy these commodities, you could have the ways to find international buyers, but if you have the inability to raise money to execute your export transactions, you're not going to do anything. So the question now is, how then do you raise export finance? You could go as far as either you use your own personal finance, either you raise money from friends and family, either you crowdsource from investors, or probably you go for equity investments where you get people who invest into your company, they take a stake in the company, and then you use the funds to ship your commodities. You can also get a loan from the bank, but usually the bank won't fund your export transactions yet until you've had some track record, meaning you should have done 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 export transactions of probably small scales first, just to show that you have the ability to execute successfully and have mastered the trade to avoid losing money. Then the next thing then is, after you've secured trade finance and you can find international buyers and you have the source, and also you secured an export license, what then do you do? Since you have your buyers and you have the finance and you have the source, it then is to source and ship the commodities. Shipping and logistics in itself is an entirely different thing because it's extremely in-depth. We're talking about logistics from sourcing the commodities. We're also talking about the shipping itself, the agency and all that. We'll get to explain these things as we go further down into the course. Now, this chart is an export transaction execution strategy. Under it there, you can look at it starts from source buyers. From there, you can see you can source buyers from export promotion councils, from local buyer reps, LinkedIn, from local exporters, trade platforms, and much more. Once you found your buyer, next thing you do is to execute a contract. You can't just go into an export transaction without issuing a pro forma invoice and signing a contract to the buyer. Whether it's a purchase order, whether it's an in-depth written contract, you must have a contract with the buyer, else you risk losing parts or all of your investment if anything goes wrong. After you've executed a contract with the buyer, the next thing you have to do then is to source the commodity. Since, just as we mentioned earlier, you can source commodities from different communities in the country, depending on what commodity you're trying to source. The most important thing is to always find the cheapest possible place to buy these commodities. And once you've found and discovered those locations, it becomes easy for you to build up and grow from there, since you'll be able to get them at the lowest possible price and to price your commodities competitively in the market. After that, the next thing you do is, after you've sourced the commodity, you don't just ship it like that. It has to meet export standards, because depending on what you and your buyer have agreed, there are specifications that you must match no matter what. And beyond even what he has agreed, you have to also be able to research the country you are shipping to and know what do they accept and what do they not accept. Because there are some buyers who are first-time buyers. And even these first-time buyers, while they may agree a certain specification with you, they're not actually 100% sure of what they would allow to sail through their ports in their own country. So it's up to you to not just deliver on what you've agreed with the buyer, but also research what the country will accept, so that you can save the buyer the risk of losing the investment in case he too is a novice in his country who doesn't know what exact quality standards may be allowed to get into the country. So what it means then is this: once you know the quality standards and you source the commodity, you process it right. You process it to the right quality standards to ensure that no matter what happens, the quality of the products will also always match what is allowed in the country and also by the buyer. After that, next thing you do is to ship the commodity. Since you've sourced the commodity and you've processed the commodity, then you have to find a logistic company that can transport this commodity from the origin to the processing point, to the ports, and to the destination port. What then it means is this: beyond just finding logistic company, you also have to do insurance all through, because anything can happen from the source to the ports within the country. And from the ports in Nigeria to the port over there, so many things can happen. So you'd have to do what they call the Clause A marine insurance. What the Clause A marine insurance means is that it's a comprehensive insurance that covers everything, including rioting, currency fluctuations, even situations where, let's say, there's war in another country, and because of that, the cargo can no longer get delivered or something, or they are rioting in the other country. No matter what happens, once you've done the Clause A marine insurance, you are good to go. Now, another thing is, a lot of people complain that insurance might just be too expensive for them. Well, insurance really is not so expensive when it comes to exports in comparison to local transactions, because insurance for exports can be as low as 0.5%. That's insanely low, meaning that you could do a transaction that is worth 25 million naira and you're not paying up to 100,000 naira for insurance. As a matter of fact, you might just be paying like 50 or 60,000 naira for insurance, depending on what insurance company you're working with and depending on what relationship you already have with those insurance companies. After you've insured these goods, you have to ensure that you're working with the right shipping agent. Now, you have to find an agent who has experience in the kind of commodity you're trying to ship. For instance, if the agent you're working with is an agent who is just focused on imports and you want him to help you forward commodities out of the country, the agent might mess up the whole thing. Because when you are stuffing a container, once it's preparing a container to stuff it, they have to put cartons along the wall. They have to hang dry bags around the container. And those dry bags, what they primarily do is to ensure that it absorbs moisture, for any excess moisture in the container. Now, most agents who are not experienced in shipping agricultural commodities don't know all these things. And if you're a new exporter who is about to start shipping commodities and just venture into the trade, but you're not aware that those things are supposed to be done, you could just end up shipping commodities that will be rejected at the port of delivery, meaning that you could forget to fumigate the container, and if you don't fumigate the container, you won't get a fumigation report, a fumigation certificate, and it will be rejected at the port. It also means that an agent who has no experience might not even be able to help you get a phytosanitary certificate also. The agent might not even know that they have to involve cobalt into the inspection process. They might not put the dry bags, they might not put the cartons around the world, and they might not just, in general, not prepare the containers right. So you have to work with the right shipping agent that will charge you fairly and also execute everything right. Then going beyond that, next thing then is payment collection. This is where a lot of people get it wrong. They believe that, oh, just get an international buyer, get a contract, and ship this commodity and you'll get paid. It doesn't work that way. If you act that way, you're going to get duped so many times. Now, what it means is this: there are different ways to secure payments. Whether you're getting a letter of credit, whether you're getting a part payment, and much more. We'll get to them as we go further into the course. Now, what type of wholesaling commodities can you start selling right now? And by wholesaling commodity, I don't mean oil and gas commodity. The focus here are on non-oil commodities, specifically agricultural products, because those are what you can easily start sourcing immediately and shipping immediately. And by agricultural products, They could range from cashew to ginger to sesame to blackstone flower and much more. Looking at them, let's take them one at a time. One is cashew nuts. Did you know that Nigeria, the yearly export volume of $167 million in Nigeria is highly under-declared, because Nigeria has the potential to tap an extra 115.8 million US dollars in cashew nut exports. But a lot of people don't have this information, and because of that, so many people don't even ply the cashew trade. They don't understand how to manage the quality right and all that. And so, with so many bad products being shipped every single year, more buyers tend to not buy cashew from Nigeria, while some more still buy from Nigeria. Another thing also to look at is the fact that why Nigerians focus so much on shipping raw cashew nuts, there are also processed cashew nuts. And these processed cashew nuts cost many times the cost of raw cashew. For instance, the international price of raw cashew nuts as at today is about $750 per metric ton. But you know, the international price of processed cashew nuts is about 6,000 US dollars per metric ton. Now, while people may be like, oh, that means if you process 1 ton of raw cashew at 750, you can sell it for 6,000. That's all. No, it doesn't work that way. But what it does mean is that you process 4 tons of raw cashew, meaning you're spending about $2,000+ to get 1 ton of processed cashew that you're going to export at $6,000. Meaning the profit margin on that is over 100% if shipped as processed. But a lot of people are now aware of this information, and yet they keep focusing on other commodities. Meanwhile, they could profit so much from the cashew trade in itself. So if you choose to focus on cashew exports, if you're not going to do raw cashew exports, you can focus on the process itself and maximize your margins. So that way you know that rather than just making 10, 20, or 10% profit margins, you could be making as much as 100% profit margins on processed cashew exports, not just raw cashew exports. Now, looking at ginger in itself, ginger is one of the most widely purchased spices worldwide. And the most interesting part is Nigeria produces one of the highest quality ginger in the world. Nigeria doesn't just produce one of the highest quality ginger. Nigeria is the largest producer of ginger in Africa in itself. And the beautiful part about ginger is this: ginger can be exported in its fresh form, in its dried split form, in its powdered form, as chips, and also even as oil forms. Because in ginger there are volatile oil content that can be extracted and used in industrial cooking activities. And for every stage that ginger is processed to, the profit margin starts to rise. For instance, the price of raw ginger right now in Nigeria, if you're exporting it, is about $900 per metric ton. If you're exporting the processed ginger, that's the cut and sliced ginger, right now the price is around $2,400 per metric ton. That is over 100%, that's about 300% the current cost of the fresh ginger. Now, if this ginger is being processed into powder, the price goes to almost $3,500 per metric ton, and if it's processed into oil, the oil price goes for over 5,000 US dollars per metric ton. So depending on what stage the ginger you are exporting is, the profit margin could start to rise. Meaning, why you can, and beyond that also, what part of the world you are shipping the ginger to matters so much. If you are shipping your ginger to Asia, for instance, why you could sell them at around 2,400, 2,300 per metric ton. If you're shipping to Europe, the price could be as high as $3,000 per metric ton. And I'm referring to dried split ginger now. Almost everything that is shipped from Nigeria to Asia is always far lower priced, is far lowly priced than the cost of the commodities being shipped to Europe, because most people who are buying from Asia, buying Africa's ginger from Asia, are simply reprocessing those ginger and reshipping it to Europe. And Europeans pay so much more. And they pay so much more to the Asians because they trust that they will process it right. So if you can process a ginger right and can assure quality, you can ship directly to the European market. And rather than making a 15 to 20% profit margin, you could go as high as 50 to 100% profit margin, depending on what stage you are processing this ginger to. Then going on to dry hibiscus flower. Dry hibiscus flower is one of the most profitable commodities you can export. But now the only caveat now is a container will take just about 12 metric tons, unlike other commodities that the 20-feet container might take almost 20 metric tons. But with dry hibiscus flower, you could ship it to Asia for around $1,500 per metric ton, and it could go to the US for between $1,800 to $3,000 per metric ton. It's so interesting that if you look at the price of hibiscus on Amazon sometimes, you will see that the price there could be between $3 to $5 per kg. 1,000 kg is 1 ton, meaning people are actually selling dry hibiscus in the US retail markets for around $3,000 to $5,000 per metric ton. Meanwhile, Nigerians are shipping this hibiscus for around $1,500 per metric ton to the Asian market. If you can build a direct access to the European and American market for dry hibiscus, you can maximize your profit margins to almost 100% or more. and shipped for around $2,000 per metric ton, $1,000 per metric ton, or even as high as $3,000 per metric ton. Another commodity to look at is sesame seeds. This commodity is extremely important. It's very interesting because of its wide usage. For instance, it's used in confectionaries. It's also used to produce sesame oils. It's used in producing bread and so many other commodities. Some of the biggest importers of sesame seeds worldwide from Nigeria are people like China, Turkey, Japan, India. These countries import sesame seeds, reprocess them to various forms, and re-export them at far higher amounts of money. Meaning, even if they buy the sesame seeds raw from us now, from Nigeria, they could still re-export it raw and maximize their profit margins and still make at least 20–30% profit for themselves. What does this then mean? It means that Nigeria is missing out on a huge sesame seeds market in Europe that the Asian market is taking advantage of. Instead of shipping sesame seeds to Asia for around $1,000 to $1,100 per metric ton right now, you could ship the sesame seeds directly to Europe for around $1,400 per metric ton, thereby increasing your profit margin from 15 to 20% to almost 45%. And also, depending on what stage you are pressing it to, if you are pressing it to sesame oil, the profit margin even rises very quickly again, because as the stage of production goes further down, the profitability continues to rise. Next one we look at is blackstone flour. I'm pretty sure 99% of you listening to this forum right now have never heard of blackstone flour before. I myself never heard of it till last year. Blackstone flour is a premium spice that is sold for an extremely high amount of money in the international market. The most interesting part of blackstone flour is it grows by itself. You can't plant it. And it's mostly grown in the Mambila Plains area of Taraba State. Blackstone flour grows on trees, it grows on rocks, it grows just like mushrooms. But the price per metric ton is over 3,000 US dollars. To Saudi Arabia, for instance, it sold for around $3,800 per metric ton. To India, for instance, it sold for around $3,100 per metric ton. This is a commodity that people are plucking for free in Taraba State, but they are selling them for over $3,000. To explain this better, $3,000 is way over 1 million naira. So they are plucking these things for free and selling it for over 1 million naira per ton. Unlike other commodities where they have to literally plant, groom, dress the soil, monitor the crops, make sure that they grow right, make sure that pests and diseases don't attack them. But blackstone flour grow by themselves. Now, the question now is, how do you take advantage of this blackstone flour opportunity? What it means is this: you could build a sourcing network for blackstone flour in Taraba State, where whenever as it's growing, the people in the communities, while they are plucking it, they could be selling to your own team at obviously a far lesser price than what you exported at. And once they've sold it to you at that price, you can still go on to resell it and make as much as 30, 40, 50, or even up to 70% profit margin on the blackstone flour you just exported. Remember, the people who are plucking it are literally plucking it for free. So you that are buying it from them to sell are now maximizing your margins. Going on from blackstone flour, next thing we look at is shea butter. Shea butter is an extremely interesting commodity to export. And most people have missed taking advantage of shea butter opportunities so many times. Why is this? Now, Nigeria is the largest producer of shea nuts in the world. And shea nuts grow on the shea trees. And from the shea nuts are processed to form shea butter. Now, shea butter when bought in Nigeria can range from between $900 to about $1,500 per metric ton. As a matter of fact, right now in the community, shea butter costs around 580,000 naira per ton, meaning that's just roughly, just a little above $1,000. That's about $1,200 per metric ton right now. When you're talking about buying a $1,200 per metric ton, the question now is, where are you shipping the shea butter to? If you are shipping the shea butter to Europe or America, you could sell it for as much as $3,600 to over $8,000 per metric ton. As a matter of fact, when you break it down, rather than even selling in metric ton, if you break it down into 100 kg ranges, 500 kg ranges, rather than insisting the buyers must buy a minimum of 10, 20 metric tons, you could sell them for about $6 per kg. And when you sell them for about $6 per kg, it means that you're selling them literally for around $6,000 per metric ton. Once you do this, you're making almost 600% profit on the export of shea butter. So now, essentially, it depends. Where exactly are you shipping the shea butter to? If you're shipping it to Asia, obviously, you're going to get undercharged. And you could just make probably 20–30% profit margin. But if you're shipping this shea butter to Europe or to America, your profit margins could be as much as 300 to 400%, depending on who is buying from you. Next are peanuts. Now, peanuts are one of the oldest agricultural product commodities that have been traded in the entire world itself. They've been traded for, that's gone as far back as over 1,000 years. And the thing about peanuts is this: they can be processed into so many things. They can be processed into pastes, into oils, and they can also be used as desserts and much more. Now, the thing about peanuts is the price is regulated worldwide. And the current price of peanuts worldwide is about $1,900 per metric ton. But these peanuts, when sold in Nigeria, are sold for around 200,000 naira per ton. 200,000 naira per ton is about $800 per metric ton, 700, depending on what exchange you're using, whether you're using the black market or whether you're using the CBN regulated price to calculate. And it means that you could literally buy your peanuts for around about $600 per metric ton. If you're buying it for $600 per metric ton and shipping for 1,900, that's over 100% profit margins. So now the thing about peanuts is this: if you're going to maximize the amount you are going to sell at, you have to know who you're selling to. But again, you can't literally just want to sell at the international regulated price, because you need to be able to beat the international markets and draw buyers to you. What it then means is this: if you're going to trade peanuts, if the international price right now is 1,900, you could buy them for around $600, $700 per metric ton in Nigeria and ship them for 1,600. By cutting off $300 per metric ton on this, you're able to compete effectively in international markets. And beyond that, aside that, once the peanut season starts every year, the price is not even up to 200,000 naira per metric ton. Meaning, you could buy peanuts for less than $400 a ton when the season starts, and still ship for almost 1,500, $1,400 per metric ton to make an almost 100% profit margin. But depending, if you're shipping to Asia, like I always say, the profit margin could be between 15 to 20%, because Asians may not even buy from you for more than $950 per metric ton. Because they themselves, the point of buying is to buy from we in Nigeria, take advantage of the international market price opportunity, and sell for an extremely high price. If someone is buying from me at $950 to sell for 1,500, 1,600, you could buy locally here for 400 and sell for 1,300. Make more than the person who would have bought from here for 950 and maximize your profit margins in the process. Also, move forward to cocoa beans. Cocoa beans is the most exported agricultural commodity in Nigeria. And not just that, the profit margins on this are also extremely high. The revenue is also extremely high. For instance, cocoa beans per ton right now costs around 900,000 naira per metric ton. 900,000 naira per metric ton is a little over $2,000 per metric ton. And that's the price of just buying it locally. The international price itself now goes way higher. But now the interesting part about cocoa beans is the international cocoa beans is regulated. So irrespective of the price that you're trying to, whether you're trying to overprice your clients or underprice your clients, you're sure of a market whose price is not just regulated but can guarantee your profit margins over a period of time. Now, since you know that Nigeria is the largest exporter of cocoa beans, it means that there's a huge international market that comes into Nigeria to buy cocoa beans all the time. Meaning that if cocoa beans is the one agro-commodity exporter from Nigeria, you can take advantage of the cocoa beans opportunity, go into its trade, and start maximizing your margins in the process. Now, going forward, how do you find international buyers for your export business? Earlier, we listed the 12 methods you can find international buyers, which are from contacting export promotion councils, contacting local buyer reps, using LinkedIn, finding other local exporters, registering on trade platforms, build an SEO-ready website, email marketing, overseas agents, that's contracting overseas agents, contacting chambers of commerce, engaging in trade fairs, buying foreign import data, and also internet marketing. Now we'll go into each of them in depth for you to understand exactly how those things work. Now, export promotion councils. So when you register with export promotion councils, you always stay up to date on what other countries are buying, what they are selling, and what they are doing. Meaning, for instance, in Nigeria, if you get a license from Nigerian Export Promotion Council, you always have an idea of what's happening in Nigeria's export scene. Now, you could also contact the Export Promotion Council of, say, India, to know what people are buying, to see if they can also assist in introducing you as an exporter to other importers there. Obviously, before you can do that, you need to have a bit of track record, because Export Promotion Councils only want to recommend proven exporters to their own local markets. Going further, there's also local buyer reps. Now, a lot of international buyers have reps in Nigeria who help them source commodities. These reps could be people from their own country. They could be people from Nigeria itself. Now, what it then means is this: if you want to close deals faster, if you can find local buyer reps in Nigeria, let's say an Indian company, let's say a multi-million-dollar Indian company is trying to find buyers for ginger, for instance. Now, What it could mean is if you could contact the local buyer reps in Nigeria that are representing those companies, you can introduce yourself to them, show your product samples, you talk to their company, and then they represent their company in Nigeria here to sign an agreement with you to ship to them. Going further, next is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is one of the most powerful places to find international buyers. Why? It's a business network. And so many people are there, not just to network with themselves, but also to close a whole lot of transactions. Also to build a whole lot of, to build a large market base for themselves. So let's say you're trying to find buyers of ginger, for instance. You could just go on LinkedIn and type ginger traders, ginger importers, or just type ginger in itself. Once you type it in the search box, it starts to recommend a whole lot of names of people who are buying these commodities. If you even go as far as talking about, not just ginger, if we talk about shea butter, if we talk about cashew, if we talk about tiger nuts, all you have to do is type out the commodity. And people who have mentioned those commodities in their profiles, whether they are buying or they are selling or the likes, you can find and connect with them, reach out to them, let them know they can supply these commodities. And once you know you can supply these commodities, it becomes easier for you to close transactions through LinkedIn. And also, LinkedIn is free, unless you are paying for the premium package. Then also, you talk about local exporters' orders. Now, there are a lot of exporters who get a lot of orders, but they cannot fund these transactions. What you can do is to partner with these exporters, since you have the finance, provide the finance for these transactions, and either you run it through their companies, or they run it through your company. Next thing are trade web platforms. There are different trade web platforms like Alibaba, Exporter India, and much more that you can register on to advertise your commodities and get buyers reach out to you. Another one you can look at is to build an SEO-ready website. Once you've built an SEO-ready website, this is the most powerful way to get buyers to reach out to you, because they'll be searching on the internet. Let's say you're searching cashew buyers in Nigeria. If you type cashew buyers in Nigeria now, for instance, on the first page of Google, you see Globexia. Type tiger nut sellers in Nigeria, you see Globexia. Type shea butter sellers, and you see almost anything you type, almost any non-oil commodity you type on in Nigeria, you always see Globexia all day, because we've hacked the SEO standards, and we've used it to be able to build an influence where we get over 50 inquiries in a day. Now, going further, next thing is email marketing. With email marketing, once you have a large database of international buyer details, or you're collecting emails from your website from people who visit, you can always send them follow-up emails to let them know that you can supply new various commodities. And also, when you have news and updates for your business, you can always send to them. That way, they always remember that your company is into the international trade of commodities, and also reach out to you when they want to import. Next thing also is to hire overseas agents. You could have agents which are literally brokers in other countries who could register with your company to help you find buyers in their countries. This way, it will be easier for you to close transactions faster, since they can visit the offices of those buyers to help you to close the transactions faster. Beyond overseas agents, you can also contact the Chamber of Commerce of different countries. Just like contacting the Export Promotion Council, same thing, Chamber of Commerce can also help introduce you to other importers in their countries, but you need to have a track record before they can actually help you in their country. Then another thing is attending trade fairs. Some of the largest trade fairs in the world is Gulf Food or the Canton Trade Fair in China. The Gulf Food is always on the UAE. Once you go to these trade fairs, you can close 5 transactions in the same day. These trade fairs are so powerful that so many Europeans and Americans visit them every year with the hope of finding exporters and traders they can build long-term relationships with that could span even up to 20 or 30 years. Beyond trade fairs, one of the most powerful ways to get international buyer details is to just purchase foreign import data. You can get this from places like Drive India or CAXN. By buying, or even InfoDrive India also, by buying international buyer details, you could, let's say, buy 1,000 emails, then use email marketing to remarket to every single one of them. Then, that's internet marketing similar to email marketing. Then, now, talking about the export trade processes, documentation, payment security, and risk. There are different trade processes you can use for your export transaction. One is FOB, CFR, CIF, and EXW. These 4 different processes are standards, and they are governed by the Incoterms rules. And beyond, there are also much more than this, but these 4 are the most common you are going to come in contact with. Now, going into each one, FOB. What FOB literally means is this. You will handle the cost of everything up until the point you load the goods on the ship. The buyer will only pay for freight. So it's as simple as that. You only load the goods on the vessel and the buyer pays for freight. That's what FOB is. FOB means you're not paying for freight. CFR means you are doing everything in FOB and also paying for freight, meaning you pay for the shipping fee. Now, CIF means you're not just paying for freight and also doing everything that is involved in FOB. you're also paying the insurance cost. Remember, insurance in Nigeria is very cheap and affordable, provided you're working with the right insurance broker or using the right insurance company. Then ex-works. Ex-works literally means that the international buyer will come and buy it from your warehouse, rather than you having to go through the cost of paying for all local shipping charges like that you would have paid for in FOB, CFR, or CIF. Now, what kind of documents are required in non-oil export transactions? One is the most common one for no matter the transaction is the bill of lading. Secondly is the certificate of origin. The certificate of origin, what certificate of origin will do is to prove that the product is coming from a particular country. Next is commercial invoice, packing lists, and independent inspection certificates. Most buyers prefer SGS certificate, but you can also get certificate from Bureau Veritas, Cotecna, Intertech, and more. Then also the cobalt inspection certificates. What this means is, by getting a cobalt inspection certificate, it means that the Nigerian government has inspected and verified that you are shipping what you claim you are shipping. And Cobalt is the company that the Nigerian government has licensed to represent them in inspecting all cargoes before it leaves Nigeria to confirm that they are exactly what they say they are. Next is the phytosanitary certificate. Phytosanitary simply means that there are no insects in the cargo that is being shipped. And this certificate is usually given to people who are shipping agricultural commodities. The government body that will come to inspect to see what you are shipping before they issue a phytosanitary certificate is called the NACS. That's Nigerian Agricultural Quarantine Service. Once they've inspected your consignment and confirmed that there are no insects in them, they will issue you a phytosanitary certificate, which you can also submit to your buyer. The next one is the fumigation certificate. The federal produce and also even SGS can help fumigate the container to ensure that in case NACS missed anything, that the container was fully fumigated and all potential insects there are dead. Now the thing is, if you're shipping agricultural commodities, you must always submit phytosanitary certificates, fumigation certificates, independent inspection certificates, packing list, commercial invoice, certificates of origin, and bill of lading, no matter what. Now, depending on what other commodity you are shipping, the buyer might require any other special certificates, depending on whether it's a solid mineral and the likes. Now, how do you secure your export payments? There are 4 ways you can use to get your payments. One is cash in advance, meaning they are paying you whether part payments or the full money in advance before you do anything. Second is letter of credit. Letter of credit is actually a bank guarantee, meaning that the buyer's bank guaranteeing they will pay, so the buyer can't change their minds anymore once they issue the guarantee. Next one is export credit insurance. It's just a form of insurance, just like any other regular insurance, meaning that if the buyer fails to pay, the insurance company will pay you between 80 to 90% of the export transaction value. Then they can then follow up with the buyer to get the fund. Last one is bill of collection. Why bill of collections are not actually a payment guarantee in themselves? What bill of collections will actually do is just a mode of payment where once you've sent the documents through your bank to the other bank won't release the document to the buyer unless the buyer has paid. But now if the buyer doesn't pay, the cargo is still sailing and you are quite in a fix there. Meaning if you are doing bill of collection, you must always do an export credit insurance. Now going on, what are the general revenue strategies if you are going to make money from exports? One is you could export raw commodities. Secondly, to aggressively grow your profit margins, you could export processed commodities. Thirdly, you could broker export transactions if you don't have the finance to fund these exports. And the fourth thing is you could offer consulting and training services to other exporters who are trying to learn. So these 4 primary ways of earning from the export business in itself are powerful ways that can actually make you generate a lot of revenue for your business. There are also more ways, but we'll talk about those at another time. Then, what kind of risks can you tend to face when you are into the export business? And one risk is the commodity not meeting the agreed quality specifications. You must always ensure the commodity meets specifications no matter what. Second is the contract will be cancelled for late shipments, meaning, look, money loves speed. So once you get a contract, you must start working on it immediately to deliver on time. Next one is some dubious buyers will issue you fake contracts that are unpayable. You have to watch out for those. Next is the goods could be infested and spoiled before it reaches the destination, meaning you must always fumigate and you must always package the goods right. Make sure that the goods are very dry, and if they are going to be fresh foods, make sure you put them in a reefer container so that it can be frozen till it gets to the destination, to where it's going to. Next is change the government policy. You might prepare goods for export, and just before they get to the ports, the Nigerian government has banned the export of those goods. Even the international country are shipping the goods from, might just ban the export of those goods from Nigeria itself, and you're already stuck with goods you can't ship. Another thing is sudden commodity price crash. You might agree a price to the buyer, and the buyer didn't issue an LC. Let's say the goods were $2,000 per metric ton. Its price only crashed to $800 per metric ton. You've already lost so much of your money, so you already bought those goods. And the buyer will not want to obviously increase because it's going to save a lot of money if he actually buys at a lower price. Now, next thing also is insurgence or civil unrest. Remember, with insurgence or civil unrest, once you've done insurance, if anything goes wrong, the insurance company will help you secure, recover the value of the commodities. And the next one is unpredictable international bans, which is just like changing government policies locally also that can affect exporters in exporting certain commodities. Now, what are the global outlooks for Nigerian exporters? The goal generally should be to cover the Asian markets, to cover the European markets, to cover the American market, and also to cover African markets. In fact, to cover the entire global markets. Why I started with the Asian market is because it might be difficult for you to close European and American deals if you don't have track records yet. And those companies in Europe and America will not just want track record, but want references from those companies you have shipped to. So starting with the Asian market is easier because they will tend to buy from us before they ship, before they then reprocess and ship to Europe and America. And by shipping to them first, you can build up the track record you need to grow your export business very quickly. Then about the presenter. Well, like I said earlier, my name is Stanley Edom, and I run an export business called Globexia Limited. At Globexia, we export agricultural commodities and solid minerals. We also own and run a highly engaging business blog in Nigeria called StartupTipsDaily.com. At StartupTipsDaily.com, we teach African entrepreneurs how to start, run, and grow successful businesses. Beyond this, we also have a project right now that we're working on where we are using AI and 0% soil to grow crops on farmlands that will produce more than 50 times more crops than the average farm would in a year. This is a hydroponic farm structure, and we'll be launching the solution towards the end of the year by December or early January. Thank you so much for the time. I hope you've learned so much from this course, and see you next time.
We can now see that export is key to boosting Nigeria's economy. Thank you so much for joining us today at the Expo 10 Forum 2020. I hope you were able to learn something, and I also hope you'll be able to implement what you've learned. Thank you once again. We are The Intellect, youth with the nation at heart.